Hello and thank you for taking an interest in this paper. My name is Ping. I'm currently a lecturer in Architecture History and Theory in Singapore Poly, and this paper investigates the effects on students learning in a non-hierarchical first-year architecture design studio. We are living in increasing uncertain times, and the outcomes of design is expected to play a larger role in solving today's emerging highly complex challenges for the future. Shifting away from the traditional outcomes of design as autonomous objects and spaces, design will contribute to business systems, policies, and strategies offering human-centered solutions confronting societal challenges. As a counterpoint to the AI-driven fourth industrial revolution, the emergence of the empathy economy, which prizes user experiences and empathy, will set to play a major role. Empathetic interactions, products, services, and experiences conceptualized by design-led transdisciplinary practices will become key drivers in propelling our economy. With a very similar iterative design process in which designers of the built environments is already accustomed to, design-led approaches are characterized by human-centered approaches that focuses on empathy, tackling ill-defined challenges. This study emphasizes on the importance of trans-disciplinary design-led practices, not simply just as an exercise of synthesizing and integrating the different perspectives of disciplines, but as a pursuit of a fusion of disciplines together for the creation of value. Which leads us to the importance of co-design. Co-design aims to impart design skills to non-designers as end users participating actively throughout the different stages of the design process. The methodology of co-design and participatory design have gained traction in recent years, as Brown's design thinking as Martin's business design. One important ingredient for co-design to work is the elimination of the hierarchy rather than to have the top-down traditional design process dictated by the master designer. A report in 2011 by RIBA titled The Future for Architects advocated the importance of diversifying practices and to stay agile, to redefine and to diversify spatial designers' traditional roles to working outside the realms of buildings as products and to operate within the expanded realm of design. This discussion seems to be timely as the agencies of architects are already in a steady decline, as they are often marginalized from the production of the built environment, and architects, they are second from the bottom. The notion of the master designer or the authoritative professor must be challenged in the 21st century context of accelerated change. If formal aesthetics and signature styles of the designer are its only contribution, without deeper considerations of the design's inner workings, architects will continue to see their agencies further diminishing. The practice and the education of architecture capitalize on the three-dimensional thinking of solving complex problems, anticipating implications ahead of decisions, integrating information into proposals through storytelling and negotiation. Even as these skills are highly desired in such future collaborative practices, our siloed one-on-one pedagogy remains an impediment. This is a very quick snapshot of a typical one-on-one master-apprentice pedagogy. It often results in a very stressful and individualistic learning environment, often with less motivated students disappearing during midday. Even though the asymmetrical power structure of the one-on-one desk grids are ubiquitous in design schools, learners often remain in their highly socialized studios, engaged with their learners in a self-directed learning, peer-to-peer learning, without the studio's tutor's facilitation. To contextualize this study, this is what we've discussed so far. The importance of emerging transdisciplinary design practices for the future and its desired outcomes is hindered by the one-on-one's master and apprentice pedagogy. And many times when we want to talk about teaching of group work and teamwork, students often resort to the divide and conquer technique of trying to finish up their projects. And of course, the diminishing relevance of the one who does it all, one who dictates the design process as the master designer. All of these factors will not be able to support emerging transdisciplinary practices. But to capitalize on the existing studio culture of being highly socialized and students self-directing their learnings in a peer-to-peer manner, together with the problem-based learning vehicle and the iterative design process. And the main intervention of this study is the alternative collaborative team learning as CTL that hopes to support future practices. This is how the team-based non-hierarchical pedagogy might look like, and tutors will induce cross-pollinative conversations with students working on their own individual design projects. This paper reports on the first stage of a sequential mixed method research seeking to understand the effects of the CTL student studio as compared to the traditional O pedagogy. Teaching ratio is maintained at a maximum of 1:14 for both groups and in a cohort system with the same design brief, assessment criteria, and the design review. This research aims to uncover relationships of students' academic performance at the end of the year alongside their learning experiences between the CTL and the O student groups, and between the SDL peer-to-peer students' academic performance as well as their reflective effectiveness of their SDL P2P discussions. The first research question seeks to uncover if there might be any significant statistic differences between their academic scores and their learning experience between these two groups. Two independent t-tests are performed in Microsoft Excel, and the resultant p-value will determine if the students are enjoying an improved learning experience and thus outperforming their O peers. The first t-test reflects an average score, CTL students' average score, to be higher than their O counterparts and was validated by the t-test. And for t-test 2, a 5-scale Likert question is given to the students, and these are the 4 questions to guide the students in reflecting their overall experience in attempt to measure their experiences. T-test number 2 returned with a positive p-value of 0.019, which has also indicated that CTL students have found their studio experiences meaningful. As newly enrolled students without any preconceived ideas about design education, students develop inclinations of having cross-pollinative conversations and learning in a communal environment. And with increasing stress of funding cuts resulting in decrease of the O studio pedagogy, the CTL is a viable model for educators to consider. When both CTL and O students are already self-directing their learning in the socialized studio environment outside formal studio contact hours, research question number 2 aims to seek out if CTL students have benefited both academically in the development of the collaborative mindsets from the CTL experiences. It is then hypothesized that learners will acquire and develop collaborative mindsets through the CTL experience and then will apply such traits confidently in their own SDL P2P discussions. Self-directed learners were then identified through the same questionnaire, and then the resultant sample size is reduced to 16 O students and 13 CTL students. For t-test number 1, it uncovers if there might be any significant differences in their mean scores, and the resultant p-value supports the hypothesis that CTL SDL students outperforms their O peers. T-test number 2 seeks out if t-test number 1's positive validation of their academic performances will be able to cross-validate students' self-reflective rating of their SDL P2P experiences. Interestingly, the resultant p-value rejects the alternative hypothesis as reflected in the students' experience by using a 4-point scale to measure their own experiences without the tutor's facilitation. The unfavorable p-value for the t-test 2 is surprising, considering that t-test 1 positive validation of their performance do suggest that their SDL P2P collaborations are effective. As beginnings design students will face deep struggles in the decision-making process without a tutor, and CTL students appeared to have overcome these challenges by performing well against their O peers. One realized that self-reflection data can be classified into 2 types. Research question number 1 explores students' reflection of the studio, which is not dictated by themselves nor their peers, but predominantly on how the tutors have choreographed the design sessions. Research question 2 explores students' mental assessments as externalized reflections pertaining to their peers' effectiveness alongside with their own experiences. Self-evaluation is indeed a pretty intriguing method of data collection. Perhaps in one modest Asian culture, students may provide a depressed self-evaluation and largely depends on their academic caliber. It is also speculated that SDL O students' positive reflection of their own experiences might have falsely equated emotionally with their laborious SDL P2P experiences. With the expanded mode of design increasingly more important and the process getting more and more democratized, the dogmatic design cultures of the master designer dispensing solutions must be urgently questioned. While design educators and professionals pride themselves as agents of change, it is perplexing on why the one-on-one studio pedagogy remains unchallenged. Architecture education is deeply conservative. With that, I'd like to end this very quick talk. Please follow me on Twitter. So thanks very much. Have a great day ahead. Thanks a lot.